Okay, well, here we are again at Lytham Hall, and thank you, Phil, for the opportunity to do this. What we're looking at today, just to give you a clue, it's yellow, is of course daffodils, because having seen the snowdrops, and here we've actually got the remnants of the snowdrops, the odd single one flowering still, struggling away with the daisies and everything, just notice setting seed. Every single seed pod, something like 50 to 80 seeds in. Every square metre, 12,500 plants. You do the maths. We think we've got somewhere in excess of 25 million on the whole 78 acres. They're doing well. These are beautiful. But let's just think about it for a moment. People often ask me, well, how many different types of daffodils are there? And it's rather complicated because they're divided into divisions. There's 13 different kinds, and I want to emphasize one particular kind later. But the big ones, the big super coloured gaudy ones, the King Alfreds, the ones that you see in towns, cities, roundabouts, the ones that are there to make a statement. Things like this. Division 1, these are cultivated varieties. They've been bred on purpose, and so they're therefore very, very popular. And the reality is it's got to be in the right place. So here the scale is right, but if we were in the woodlands, these would look incongruous. And I want to show you something a little bit later. By the way, notice that the bluebells are doing well. So we're going to go from snowdrops to daffodils to bluebells. Every month you will see something amazing at Lytham Hall, and hopefully when the bluebells are here, you'll be here too. Okay, so we've talked about species and different kinds of daffodils and the divisions for the different shapes, sizes. These are about as extreme as you might get. A washed out colour that's double, yellow cabbage basically, but nevertheless it's unusual. Not many people have it. I certainly haven't. And yes, if you like it, it's all about opinion. If you like it, grow it. I'd like to come on to these, because these are wild daffodils. And when you think of Wordsworth's poem, they were written about this very one. Now this is, and let's use the Latin name, Narcissus. Pseudo-Narcissus is the species, and the variety of that is Lobularis. What you'll see with these is that they have a white outer ring of tepals, strictly petals you might call them. In the Tenby daffodil, which is grown in Pembrokeshire, South West Wales, and of course the one that we wear for St David's Day, the outer part is the same yellow as the inner. Now, they are native to both these areas, but they again come from Southern Europe, Mediterranean, and little pockets exist in parts of Scotland and of course the Lake District. The Friends of Lytham Hall sponsored these, and in the first year we planted 10,000 to go with Wordsworth's famous poem. And the idea is that people would buy 20 of these bulbs for £10, which would raise money for here, and they could dedicate them to a memory or a celebration. Maybe it could be a past loved one, maybe it could be grandchildren, or a celebration of some kind. I have a saying, teams work, and here at Lytham Hall, by golly, the Lytham Hall team works. We work our socks off and look at what is beginning to happen. These have been growing for 3 years. Being a wild species, they also produce large amounts of seeds, unlike the ones I showed you earlier. And those seeds will spread. So instead of 10,000, and then the next year we planted another 10, so we've planted 20,000 bulbs. these are now producing seed. So all of those 10,000 are then producing between 50 and 80 seeds. I collect these and distribute them, and in years to come, just like the bluebells that I've done and the volunteers have all done, we will get hundreds of thousands and millions of these, which is a fabulous idea. So if you go and look, for instance, if you want to dedicate these to somebody, you're welcome to. If you go on the Facebook page for the Friends of Lytham Hall or any of the Facebook pages, you can actually donate for that, and you then get mentioned in the memorial book, which is absolutely amazing. We've done the first 10,000, we've now got the second 10,000 opening, should people wish to do that. It's a lovely idea because it means we've got an extra facility for the whole of the community, and it also means that you can actually have a memory of something that you want to celebrate, or somebody who is no longer with us. Now this is quite an interesting way of planting, and we have to thank Lytham Rotary for sponsoring this great big circle here, and one of our volunteers actually sponsored the spokes of the Rotary emblem, which is rather spectacular. And what he did, in order to sponsor his own family, one of the spokes, his own family, his parents and previous lineage, wife's parents, even the animals, the horses and the dogs and the gerbils. It was rather a splendid idea, I thought. And of course, it won't remain like this, it will slowly spread, because being the species, these produce seed, the whole of this area will be covered with this lovely Lent lily. Absolutely spectacular. And something just to mention, which is quite important, especially in these days, we're finding now that there are all sorts of chemicals within not just snowdrops, but also in daffodils, a thing called galanthamine, that is being researched on and is being used to treat Alzheimer's. And there's over 100 different chemicals that the scientists are now investigating that could help. It's so wonderful to think that not only are they attractive, not only are they doing a good job, but we're learning. Sometimes as I get older, I realise how little I know, not how much. Now then, we've just gone from a King Alfred type to probably one of the smallest ones. Now, this is one that I don't even know. We've got Tate here, but the reality is, if it comes to daffodils and you like daffodils, you can have almost any size you want. Therefore, small garden, even a pot, window box, anything, you can grow daffodils. And the beauty of this is that you can choose, but please, please think about in the right place. So plants in the right place always look right. Plants that are in the wrong place, you suddenly think, well, I wish I'd planted something that fitted in from a scale point of view. Here's one that's a little bit taller. So these are absolutely superb. And from a botanical point of view, we've got somewhere in the region of 50 species throughout the world, mainly Mediterranean areas going into the Middle East, North Africa, those sorts of things. Very, very hardy in this country though. But there's over 4,000 different variants of all those. In fact, it's almost endless because these variants, we keep on breeding more. Somebody thought this was perfect. It was so lovely and miniature. And then they decided we want it smaller. And maybe, well, we don't like it in yellow, let's have it in white. Goodness only knows what they'll come up with next, but that's gardeners, that's plant hunters. We like something that's a bit, dare I say, exotic. So there we are, small ones. Right, well, here we are with some very large King Alfreds. Rather, I was talking earlier about are they in the right place or the wrong place? The correct context. These aren't. Quite clearly they aren't. If you see there's some wild ones there, and you can see that we've got snowdrops. So I'll show you what we're going to do with these. What we will be doing with these is that we will actually transplant these so that in the right context they'll be beautiful. In the wrong context, they're in the wrong place. So this is what we're going to do. And by the way, it's quite interesting that John Talbot, Clifton and Violet had a daughter called Easter Daffodil. So I'm going to dedicate these to Easter Daffodil. She was the sister of Harry Clifton, the last Clifton squire here in Lytham. And the best place for these is where we're going to put them next. As I say, we'll transplant the bulbs. We've done no harm. I will have to wash my hands because some of the chemicals in the sap can be irritants to some people. I don't have a problem, but some people do. And in the right place, beautiful. Okay, so here are the King Alfred types. And I did say we'd find the right place for these. And I think they'll be very, very appropriate. Follow me. Let's find somewhere to put them. And here we are, brightening up Lytham Hall. Let's dedicate these to Easter Daffodil Clifton. Right plant, like the right plant in the right place.